Moving to or living in another country other than your own has pros and cons. Relocating is always a big step, and it is of utmost importance that you weigh the pros and cons and inspect the good and the bad before you make a decision. Central America is fast becoming one of the favorite places of retirees and working-age Westerners because they can stretch their dollar and enhance their quality of life at the same time. Colombia is one of the countries in Central America that has been ranked as one of the top retirement locations. Colombia offers snow-capped mountains, beautiful beaches, bustling cities, and thick jungles. The country's landscapes are just breathtaking, but they shouldn't be enough to convince anyone in his right mind to move there. In this video, we'll talk about the many reasons why you should not move to Colombia. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter this giveaway. It's really that simple. Colombia's exchange rate is so volatile. If and when you decide to live in Colombia, you'll have to pay for your cost of living in the local currency, which is the Colombian peso or the COP. Although the exchange rate in the last 3 years has been very favorable for people who have US dollars and other high Western currencies, it hasn't always been like that. The exchange rate has fluctuated dramatically over the years. The exchange rate has ranged from 1,745 to 3,438 COP to the US dollar in the last decade, but it has been higher than that the prior 7 years. Although this makes life in the country interesting, if you want stability, Colombia is not the place for you. Crime and safety are both concerns. If you have been watching the news for the last few years, then you must have certainly read or heard about Colombian drug cartels and the violence in Medellin and Cali. You must also know one notorious Colombian, Pablo Escobar, if you've watched the Netflix series Narcos. Although we are not saying that Colombia is still a drug haven, it can be a dangerous place. There are parts of the country that are still ravaged by a war between government forces, paramilitaries, and guerrillas. And although the government has already signed an agreement with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, there are still dissident groups that can wreak havoc in an instant. The United States Department of State, as well as Canada, have issued a travel advisory which is at a level 2. Although there are high homicide rates reported in some cities, in actuality, it is lower or just the same as major US cities. However, it's still better to be safe than sorry. With that being said, safety in the country has improved significantly in the last few years, but street crime is not unusual. Be vigilant and take basic precautions when traveling to any part of the country. Colombians are not known for their exemplary customer service. If you plan to move to Colombia despite friends and family telling you that you should just go on a holiday there, you should be aware that the country is not known for being excellent in customer service. You need lots of patience and tolerance if you are to survive in any Colombian city. Time is a very fluent subject in Colombia. When someone tells you that they will see you in 30 minutes, you should be prepared to wait for 2 hours. When they say tomorrow, they might mean some other day later in the week. Colombians don't have a service-oriented culture, so, compared to other places, they like to take their time and work at a leisurely pace. So, don't pull your hair out of the grocery store when the cashier is frustratingly slow. However, this doesn't mean that Colombia is any different from most countries in Latin America, such as Mexico, Brazil, Ecuador, and Peru. Spanish is necessary. The majority of the population in Colombia doesn't speak English, so to be independent and to transact business, you need to speak Spanish. However, many foreigners that don't speak a word of Spanish have been living in the country for years without any problems. But be warned that it is difficult to get by with even rudimentary Spanish because most of the people that you'll interact with daily, such as cashiers, taxi drivers, waiters, and clerks, have little to no English in their vocabulary. English proficiency in the country has also been rated 48.90 on a 100-point scale. You'll also have an enjoyable time in the country if you speak their language. Although there are expat communities in Colombia that speak English, they are few in numbers. You will likely find more English speakers in Bogota and Cartagena compared to other places. IVA tax is incredibly high, and you'll need to file taxes twice. If you are an American expat, you have to file taxes in both your home country as well as Colombia. A person will be considered a tax resident once he or she stays in the country for more than a total of 183 days in a year. Unfortunately, Colombia also taxes the worldwide income of tax residents. The good news is that even if you have to file taxes, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pay income taxes. Furthermore, Furthermore, there are several deductions, and you can also subtract a portion of the income taxes you paid in other countries from your local income taxes. Suffice it to say that taxes in Colombia are not very straightforward. Aside from that, there is also a 19% value-added tax, otherwise known as IVA, on various products. This makes the prices of some groceries and other things quite expensive. However, fruits, milk, eggs, and other items are exempt. Corruption and bureaucracy are common. Colombia has been ranked 99 out of 180 countries when it comes to corruption perception. If you want things done, and if you want them done fast enough, you might need to bribe someone. Several lawyers take care of this aspect so that expats have what they call deniability. The court system in the country is also not reliable. Those with money are treated more favorably, and many things are done under the table. It can be a challenge to navigate obtaining a visa, opening a bank account, and getting an apartment. To be fair, the government and private offices have been working hard to improve things, and they have streamlined processes for a better experience. Colombia is still more efficient compared to other countries in Latin America, but it is not comparable to most developed countries. Vehicles are costly. Vehicles come at an exorbitant price because of the import duties that cost up to 35%. It is reported that more than half of the vehicles sold in the country are imported, so if you compare the price of a car in the US and Colombia, you can get them cheaper in the US. Although Colombia has a free trade agreement in place with the US, there are still import duties. Colombia also has free trade agreements with several nations, and these are all done in the hopes of phasing out import duties. This would greatly reduce the costs of getting imported automobiles. Other costs that come with owning a car, such as insurance, gasoline, maintenance, and taxes, are also more expensive compared to other places. To continue with vehicles, let's discuss driving and the traffic in Colombia. To drive on the roads of Colombia, you need to go through yet another round of tests to get a fresh new license. Foreign driver's licenses cannot be converted here, not even the international ones. Navigating the roads where there are too many motorcycles is also not for the faint-hearted. You need nerves of steel to drive in Colombia. Traffic is also maddening in most big cities. There are intersections without traffic lights for pedestrians, so they are last when it comes to the right-of-way. Another thing you will notice is the lack of sidewalks in some areas. It is risky for pedestrians to cross from one major thoroughfare to another, to say the least. Pollution in major cities is quite bad. Major cities such as Bogota and Medellin suffer from a pollution problem. Although the level of population is significantly lower compared to some Asian cities, it can still restrict daily life. Sometimes the situation is so bad that only certain vehicles are allowed to be driven. There are times too when buildings such as public sports complexes are closed. Colombian cuisine leaves a lot to be desired. Although there are typical Colombian foods that many foreigners like, they are the exception and not the rule. Arepas, for example, is the starch-laden cousin of the tortilla, but it doesn't have any flavor. You need to add things such as cheese to make it more palatable. However, being in Colombia means having access to fresh fruits and vegetables. So, if you fancy cooking yourself a meal, you can easily whip up delectable dishes because fruits and veggies are widely available. Lastly, working in the country doesn't pay much. You shouldn't go to Colombia if you're expecting to get a job that pays better than, let's say, the US. Unless you are an expat working for a multinational company that has been assigned there, you won't make much. The minimum monthly wage in the country in 2019 was only 828,116 COP. That's only a little over $200. That is a big difference from what most people make in Western countries. If you are intent on moving to Colombia, you can live a comfortable life if you have a location-dependent job that is based in the US and other wealthy countries. Colombia, just like any other country, is not perfect. It has its share of negatives, but it also has a wealth of positives, such as an excellent climate all year round, low cost of living, lower income requirement for retirees, cheap utilities, inexpensive healthcare, culture, fresh fruits, diversity, and a slower pace of life. We have come to the end of our video. Hopefully this video has given you the details you need to make up your mind whether you are going to move to Colombia or not.